All right, buzz, ladies and gentlemen, we're live in the house for another episode of Blake's Buzz Live. And as you could tell from last week, it's gonna get weird, but a good weird. It's a good weird, you know. I'm here with some really talented, amazing writers who have some amazing projects that are like live on Kickstarter or came out this week. I'm going to go around the room and introduce everybody real quick. I'm just going to go in the order that you guys are on my screen, like no preference. No one paid me to go first or anything. David, your check did clear. How you doing this evening, David? From Scout, Steak Volume 1 is out this week. That's exciting. How's that going? Look how pretty that cover
Going
is.
great.
It's so pretty.
Did you get one in person or did you just read your other copies?
I read the digital right now. I'm waiting on the I get them shipped, man. The mail is in control of all my nerdnings.
Me too. I don't have a LCS that's closer than 45 minutes that I go to. So
nice. Well, not nice, I guess, but I mean, it's nice that we can get things, delivered. I just like getting shit in the mail. It feels good, Like,
just wait till you get this one though, because it's got this nice soft touch cover. It's all velvety.
I remember you talking about the soft touch cover. I just like the sound. Like, it's so like sensual and provocative.
It is. It's supposed to make you feel things.
So yeah, David Byrne, he's the writer of Steak from Scout. It's very good. He's also a Scout spinoff, Jessamy. He's had some wildly successful Kickstarters with Jessamy, and but Volume 1 of Steak came out this week, it's so good. It's modernized, very beautiful, vibrant vampire story. And I encourage everybody to pick that up. We're going to talk more about it as the night goes on. Let's move over to John. Mr. John Westhoff is here this evening, and he's got a Kickstarter going live right now, which is the Drumsticks of Doom, which is some heavy fucking metal with some spooks and some ghastly ghouls. And how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm the publisher, writer, letterer for Part-Time Comics. I have about 12 years of publishing experience, but the new brand is Part-Time Comics. In our second year here, onto our fourth Kickstarter campaign, and off to a great start with Drumsticks of Doom. So thanks.
Yeah, man, you're rocking it. Like, people are really digging it, and as they should. Like the sample you sent out to your press, which also, like, kudos to you for like knowing how to play the game, right? Like, I really appreciated that as someone who covers Kickstarters and covers comics. That the little preview you sent with all the info and the art to share, like, that was just I like when people do that. It makes my life easier. And I love when people make my life easier, like it's just nice,
I appreciate that. Yeah. And I've gotten some feedback of people saying, why didn't you send me the whole book? And it's like, well, sometimes it's not done, or sometimes we just want to kind of wet your whistle a little bit. So I'm always kind of in between. Should I wait and send him the whole book? But I appreciate that.
He's talking about me in the green room because I was giving him shit for not sending me the full issue. Up next on this wildly spooky list is Ryan Ellsworth, who, like, I feel like he knows more about America and American politics than he's allowed to, because he's got some deep insight of the deep state. North Bend is, to put it simply, quite terrifying, and I feel like it's terrifying because it's very much rooted in truth, but it's a very cerebral CIA, it's a spook tale. Ryan, how you doing tonight, bud?
I'm pretty all right, thanks. Yes, there are some CIA spooks in there. A lot of coincidentally flukish things that kind of coincided what I wrote with what's happening now more and more, especially.
Yeah, it hits a little different when you get caught up, like, with today's news going on. It's like, wow, like,
yeah, war in Russia and everything. So,
and you just the issue 2 of your second arc just dropped today, which was very good, and that also from Scout. We've got a couple Scout guys in the house, which is good. And so again, like Ryan, thank you for coming on the show. You know, I didn't give any of you much notice. I got this wild spark under my ass last week and got this idea and got on Twitter and sent everybody messages, and you foolish gentlemen said yes. So sorry, but we'll see how it goes. And last but definitely not least, we've got Kickstarter legend, just madman writer publisher Pat Shan. Like, what are you even doing on this podcast, man? You are like, you're too good for me. You're too good for me, sir.
No, I'm happy to be here. My cats are already starting some bullshit though, but I'm happy to be here.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Like, you sent me some Prison Witch to check out, and I dug it. But I wanted you on for the cats. I wanted the cat cameos. Yeah. Everybody seems to love that. The feline vibe that you give off when they kick your microphone and stumble across your desk. Like, I need those cat people hits, right? So I'm just like, you know, I needed the audience buildup. Everybody, this is the show tonight. I'm your host, Blake Morgan from Blake's Buzz. You may have heard of me, or maybe you didn't. Maybe you're just, you know, you're trying to watch porn and you clicked the wrong button. Sorry. But you know, like, that we're here tonight and we're here to talk comics, and we're here to talk spooky things, because you know what? The world is kind of spooky. Things are a little crazy, and it's really good to find some distractions. And I enjoy the comic book kind of distractions, and all these gentlemen here tonight have some real good ones. So that's basically the gist of it. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Like, I'm really excited. Everybody's got new stuff out, hot topics, you know, so what are we going to talk about, guys? That's as far as I got.
Talk about this early Halloween special you got going here.
Yeah, it's Halloween in March, baby.
Nothing wrong with that. I love Halloween, and I know there's some people who say, you know, put your decorations out this time to celebrate. If you want to celebrate Halloween 24/7, you do it. Whatever makes you happy in this crazy world, as Ryan alluded to, where fiction is becoming reality. We all need to disconnect a little bit.
What I want to do, I want to celebrate Thanksgiving every day. Cause like, I want that. Just every day I want mounds of turkey stuffing and mashed potatoes, and I don't have to buy gifts for anybody. Like, that's what I want every day.
That's good. I mean, I follow you on social media. It looks like you celebrate Thanksgiving every day.
Okay. I don't know any of you people. Like, you're all just.
It looks like you definitely celebrate some eating on the regular.
What are you trying to say? I'm fat, you son of a bitch.
No, I mean, you cook, man.
No, I am. I'm a large man. I'm a girthy boy. I like the potatoes. I like the carbs, and you know what I like? I like fucking cheese. I like cheese. Cheese is just good on everything. You guys are like, what the fuck did I just get into? We're talking about cheese. We're not talking about comics. You know, all right. No, you guys talk. You guys are like the famous people. I'm just here to look pretty and smile.
Yeah, I mean, Thanksgiving for me is, you know, to me it's number one holiday. You know, obviously because number one, you know, big boy. Two, it's just such a beautiful underrated meal. You know, it's a simple meal. If you cook it right, turkey underrated. That could be a juicy bird, right? I'll baste that bitch maybe once every 15 minutes the whole time. And then when it's done, golden, crispy, beautiful.
Okay. Let's fuck with this. Let's roll with this. All right. So we're gonna talk bird cooking. All right. So I know two really good ways of doing it. My dad had this guy that he knew from Detroit. His name's John Stark. He's good people, and from Detroit, like. They did it. They would take link sausage, right? So you put the bird in the oven and you toothpick link sausages. I mean, like, cover the bird in link sausages. And as it sits in the oven, the sausages grease up and drip and like moisten the bird. It essentially like self-base because of the link sausages. That works really well. And also I spatchcocked it the other last Thanksgiving.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Okay. It's scary because you cook it. It cooks in like 90 minutes. Like you got to be like on the fucking ball when you do that.
Yeah,
but it's.
I mean, I
fast.
feel like the first way is so much scarier though, just like visually, you know.
It's just like,
For those who aren't aware of the spatchcock, what is that?
okay, so the spatchcock is when you dismantle the bird. You cut the legs off, you cut the wings off, and you cut the spine out and splay everything out on a baking sheet. So you dismantle everything into parts, and it
Kind of
takes,
dissecting the turkey.
yeah, and it cooks a lot faster because everything's separate, and you kind of can monitor the temps of the white and dark meat, and take things out and keep things in the oven. It's kind of intimidating, but you can like. So everybody always tells me like, "Oh, Blake, you're such a good cook." Like my family taught me some stuff, but like YouTube made me a decent cook, and so yeah, I learned how to do that on YouTube. You just cut everything into pieces and put it in the oven. Yeah,
Smart.
I pretty much learned my entire life from YouTube.
right?
Cooking,
It
love,
tells you
comics,
everything.
everything. Couldn't survive without it.
I'm watching like how to I'm wanting to build like a bookcase because you guys can't, well, you can see a little bit. I got a little bit of a stack of books in the back corner, but I just have stacks of books like all over. I found retail therapy in lockdown, and I bought more books I think during quarantine than I'll ever be able to read. And so I joke with people and tell them I'm buying for my retirement now. And it's funny because I still buy all these books, and I'm like Comic Books Press now, right? So like I get stuff sent to me, and awesome, lovely people like all you guys like share your stuff with me, and so like I'm blessed and get extra comics now, and still like I just can't stop buying shit. Like it's like it's very much like I buy an omnibus and I chop it up and I snort it and I just have too much fun with it and I don't even know what happens.
It's definitely a disease.
You guys ever do that? You guys ever snort an omnibus? Like the new Marvel omnibuses, like they smell like straight fucking paint. If you fucking read those and hold it too close to your face, you're gonna forget at least like 2 to 3 arcs in that 40 issue book that you read. Like it's crazy.
I will definitely huff an Extinction Agenda, but I'm not going to chop it up because it's like $125.
Yeah, right. I'm looking for Bishop's Crossing. I need a Bishop's Crossing. Really want the hardcover, but guess what? I don't want to do pay $350 for a Marvel oversized hardcover. I've thought about it a couple times, and I haven't done it because I'm kind of nuts, but I'm not that nuts. What's some grails that you, we're all comic fans in this room. Like what's some grails that you've all like hunted down and considered dropping like big bones for?
I have 0 grails on to brag about on my end.
Nothing? Like you don't like
no collectors, anything. I mean, as a kid I tried to get stuff like that, but lately I haven't really been super into collecting any fancy comic.
Dude, we need to talk more. I need that kind of discipline.
Right? I'm not a big collector either. Like my grail item, at one point it might have been, Amazing Fantasy 15 or something like that. But in recent years it was Thor annual Journey into Mystery annual #1 with the first Hercules, because I really love Marvel's Hercules, and that was like $12 or something like that. Nothing huge. I'm not like looking for Fantastic Four #1 or anything like that. I do have a shitload of comic books, and I love the hardcovers and the collections. I'm definitely more into. But thankfully, I also did not get bit by the collecting bug, and I don't have too many grail items that I'm hunting down either.
Yeah, I have grails, but they're more along the Pokemon card lines than
comics. I knew you were gonna come out with that. I knew it. That's awesome though. Good for you.
All that over here. Can you guys see? I'm not sure if you can see. All those lines over there. All Pokemon cards.
I'm the Magic the Gathering side, so I definitely have grails in that area. If we want to talk about that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't say I have any discipline because I've got really high-end Magic and really high-end comics.
Oh man, you
Uh-oh.
guys that are into the cards and the comics, that's a lot. So I got drunk a while back and bought like the old Marvel 90s Fleer set that like I had as a kid and
Now
sold
that's
in a
sick.
garage sale. But I mean like the basic set like I got for like $20, but then it's like you start trying to buy like the chase foils and stuff, right? And that's where the money starts escalating.
Yeah.
And you don't think about that. And then I've got these so I'm a big fan of David Nakayama, and I've got these
He's got him right there.
yeah, they're on my they're on my desk. I like them. They make my workday more pleasant. But they're I don't, it's kind of there's all this glare, but they're 92 Fleer throwback style, but also they're like pallet size thick. Like these things are fucking insane. So like anyway, I bought a set of those. That was the last expensive card deal I bought. I like to tell everybody that I'm a recovering variant addict, because I am. Like I was buying a lot of store exclusives. David and Steak, like he tries so hard to get me to spend so much money because Steak has so many like really.
Wait till you see canceled.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's the new okay. All right.
We have over 20 retailer variants.
What?
God damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's insane.
Wow. See, I actually struggle with that in knowing people that collect variants. You know, I feel like, I mean, again, it's your, it's your money, but I mean, I struggle even doing one variant. I'm like, I don't know. But I know it's part of the business, you know.
Well, yeah, and the stores come to you, so this is people who have a base of customers that they believe they can sell the books to. So
yeah, and that's cool. Like store exclusives are fun, and
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
I mean, it's a mixture. Like every month on behalf of Scout creators, I send info to retailers and saying, hey, look, these books are available. What they choose to do with that, I'm not chasing anybody down. I just present them the info. If they like what they see, they hit me up, or they go straight through the creators.
Nice. And then you're like, Blake has this much money, guys. So
yeah,
20.
Yeah, they're like this fucking internet weirdo with a blog and a talk show, like he'll buy whatever.
Yeah, just tag him when you post your sales. That's all you gotta do.
I see people talk about ROM all the time, and I've yet to read it. Are you guys into? Is anybody into ROM? I see people talk about it. He's like he looks like a friendly, cool little chill robot guy.
I hear that's a chase item. ROM Micronauts. I hear that a lot. Like people want
Micronauts too.
Maybe because it's a small series, like people feel like they can find them. But yeah, those are the two ones I hear about a lot. But no, I have not read ROM yet.
All right. No. Well, we're all failures. That's good. That's good.
I mean, that's relatively new, right? ROM. It just came out
a couple years ago, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
They did try to relaunch it, right? I don't know.
I thought they did. I thought there was like a thing. I remember, like, I remember like
Marvel
being
lost
like
a license or something.
Like I do, being on the toilet reading the comics. Like that's like just enjoying my private time. And I remember seeing an advertisement for it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that was Chris Ryle at IDW was doing some kind of ROM universe. Yeah.
Yeah. So Ryan, so you don't really collect comics, but you sure write the shit out of them.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not in general, I'm not a huge collector, I guess, especially now with being married and kids and whatnot. It's kind of hard to justify it, But I'll probably get my comics card revoked for saying this, but I don't read anything big too anymore.
That's cool. That's cool. I mean, we just lost all our sponsors for the evening. Thanks for that. But no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I'm sorry
Big Two don't give a fuck about Blake's Buzz. I'll tell you that right now. Like,
I don't read any Big Two either.
I thought you were about to say like I don't look at Blake's Buzz. I don't read Blake's Buzz either. I don't read your fucking articles, weirdo. I just want your money.
Yeah, so we got one other guy who doesn't partake of the mainstream stuff, which isn't, I'm not trying to be an elitist or anything, but
no,
I just
man.
Kind of seek out. I have specific things that I kind of like, and they usually tend to fall in the indie realm that I seek out.
Yeah. You know, I don't do shit drugs, right? Like I want the good stuff. Like, you know, you gotta go where, not that I do drugs, but like if I did, you know, like I would just
Right.
I would want the
Hypothetical
better
universe.
stuff. I don't want like that mainstream grocery store weed that you buy from the cart collector when you're leaving, getting your, you know, like I want to like call the delivery line and he comes over and he like pitches. I want like the drug dealer to pitch me the drugs, right? Like, oh, this one will make you feel alive. This one will make you feel like someone loves you. And I'm like, ooh, okay. Like, let's fuck with that. Let's see how that's about.
I mean,
You
that
know?
is a good metaphor for indie comics. I mean, that's what we all do, right? We try to really hand sell the books and
Yeah.
sell these boutique items.
Thanks for not making me seem like a drugged out douchebag, John. Appreciate that's why I had John. But so yeah, Ryan, I keep coming back to you just because you fucking blew my mind, dude. Like so you're if you guys don't know, so right now you can get there's a volume 1. I do and I'm showing this off because you know I do buy your guys' comics. I do spend money. I don't, you know, like I don't just pretend to read comics. I'm not a pretender. But volume 1 is out of North Bend. I am very interested in how your arcs are playing out, man, because I know probably some of it's not under your control, but you know, volume 1, there a lot happens. It leaves you on a really intense cliffhanger, and I don't want to like spoil anything because I want people to find your comic like I did. But there's a murder, there's shenanigans, there's mind control, there's hallucinations. As I said previously, it's very cerebral. And in the new issues of your second arc, you're very much celebrating that, right? Like your main character is literally at times floating through the panels mystically. But you had a long break between arc 1 and arc 2, and like, did you is that a struggle? Like, is that
What's
like
the deal with the long break? Or
yeah,
good question. Like, I think with Scout it was a little more relaxed as far as like how much can be done of the series before we start putting it out, and I was kind of like right behind the publish, like going to print with when the issues would be done, which is kind of like a risky thing to do probably. And so it's with series 2 or season 2, they wanted, it's more of a like, let's make sure the whole volume is done type of thing.
You can blame me, Ryan. It's okay.
It's David's fault.
Oh yeah, I always forget like it's like David and Charlie are like the puppeteers behind the
Yeah, it's more of a policy we've adopted because we've had too many series that we'll get 2 issues in out of 4, and all of a sudden it's 4 months before we get the 3rd issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with volume 2 for North Bend, it's coming out consistently, and everything's going to hit the dates except for the paper shortage, which has pushed every Scout title by 6 weeks.
Fuck that damn paper shortage.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. At one point, I had put in 12 books, and then I found out that the printer had no paper, and I'm sitting there going, well, I'm not going to submit any more books into this log jam. So I'm just sitting there. Like most of December, I didn't even submit any books to the printer because I didn't know when anything was going to actually come out. So we've shifted to a new printer. Ryan, you should have gotten your books from the new printer. I hope they look good.
Yeah, I did get number 2 the other day. It looks really good. And I think this came out today after like a 4-month, as David is saying, there's a paper shortage. It was scheduled originally to come out like 4 months ago. And then it kind of, yeah, there it is right there.
look at that. Look at technology work, guys. Here we go. So this is the new issue that came out today. And excuse me. So this idea, and it's even on your cover, right? So this fractured mirrored glass motif also shows up within the comic and is like structurally important to the plot, right? How much of this weird cerebral clusterfuck mindfuck game are you and your artists like? Do you guys just like stay up late and text each other and be like, how are we gonna fuck with our readers tomorrow? Because I feel like, and no like offense, like it's done so well, and it propels your plot, and it is a page turner, and it's a reason to get more issues, and it's a reason to buy volume 1, but man, it just, you guys mess with us like so hard, and a lot of it is visual, and a lot of it is structural within the narrative. So like, how do you and your artist like combine forces?
Yeah, like, so for the covers, I don't know if anyone's noticed this, but they're actually all, I think every one of them is, except for the variants, they're all inspired by paintings by the painter Rene Magritte, who's a surrealist painter. And yeah, so this one is based on, this one's kind of a more loosely inspired one. There's no cracked mirror painting, but as far as like the imagery and stuff goes, we do put a lot of thought into storytelling through imagery alone. And I think that has some pros and cons. Like, a lot of details can be missed, and it's easy to get lost, but from the story, when you put things, plot details or whatnot in the imagery, because some people like to cruise through a comic, and that can be easy to miss that kind of stuff.
Who cruises through a comic? I mean, like, I mean, like, I cruise, but like, if I cruise, I got to go back. Like, I got to remind myself to, there's two elements to that, right? Is the story's good and the dialogue's good and it's rolling, and I forget to appreciate the art, and then vice versa. It's like, oh, it's so pretty, there's so much going on, and I forget to think about the writing. Yeah, Ryan, I feel like you're too smart to be on the show. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm so sorry. We have to like.
It's funny you say that.
It's I have to bring you down to this level, and also time out. Fucking David Hazan, my homie from fucking Mad Cave who writes Nottingham, is texting in this chat. That's just insane.
Well, it's funny you say that, because to most people that know me and like my coworkers and stuff, I really come off as like a slacker, kind of lazy, like kind of the opposite of what you said.
The bar is very low here, Ryan.
Get him on, get him on the show. We're gonna set him straight. Like that's bullshit, man. Like that's crazy. No, it's I really did. I've had your trade for a long time. So okay, going back in time to before Blake's Buzz was Blake's Buzz. There was a comic book shop that was promoting Ryan's comic, and they had these tarot cards that they were selling with the trade when Ryan put out the trade. And I asked this shop, I was like, hey, like, I'm in Kansas City, Missouri, you're in New York. Like, is there a way I could buy the trade from you guys? Because I would really like one of these cards. And they were like, yeah, we like in-store customer experience, and basically we're like, yeah, we don't want to fucking talk to you. And I was like, okay, like, thanks, sorry. And Ryan followed me and DM'd me, and he was like, hey man, do you want a card? Like, I'll send you one. And I didn't even think about it, right? And I was like, oh yeah, man, like, I'll pay for shipping. And he was like, yeah, I think I can cover the stamp, buddy.
Yeah, bro, you owe me 50 cents for
that. I still do. I think they were still like 38 cents when this happened, right? So but no, it was like I just really appreciated that, and that just was like cool to me, and so yeah, so I ended up like buying the trade, and now this was like this was almost a year ago, and now like Arc 2 is out. And no, like that, the shop is very cool. Like I get, like, I don't want to be an asshole. Like, please, like, buy Ryan's books, buy all these guys' books in whatever means you can. If it's an in-store experience, like, I hope you enjoy it. But it was very cool that I didn't ask you. You just like DM me, and you were like, I'll send you this fucking card, you weirdo. Like, you want it? And I was like, yeah, I want the card. And Ryan has a really cool signature. Like, Ryan has a solid, has a solid signature. Anyways, so yeah, so that's North Bend, and everybody should buy it. Like, you can get the trade right now, and there's 2 issues in the volume 2 arc. Are you going to go another 5? Are you planning?
This season is 5. Yeah.
Okay. Sticking with 5. I dig it.
Yeah, it's cool to hear about. I think
everybody does 6. Fuck those 6-issue writing motherfuckers, right? Like,
some of my issue Scout is so prolific these days, and I see them, picking up so many awesome creators. It sometimes can be overwhelming to kind of know where to go. It's just like Image. There's so many different books. Yeah. It's not a shared universe
everywhere, obviously.
Yeah, sure. Buy them all, right? Why limit yourself? But yeah, this is a cool one to hear about, because this was not one on my radar. So I appreciate you talking it up.
John, did you retire? Wait. Oh, here we go. Okay. Can you guys see the comments when I show them?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I was joking with Gerald.
How does technology work?
Usually, when Kickstarters are gone, they go into hiding. So he just had one that funded recently. So I was joking with him about getting out of the stream and going to retirement.
Oh, David Azan's getting mouthy in the chat. We're gonna have to talk about this. Anyway, well, okay, yeah. Gerald did just have a really successful Kickstarter campaign. He was actually my first live stream last week, so he was kind of my test run. He was giving me shit for wearing sunglasses, and I'm really thanks for none of you for doing that. So there's a thing that happens when I do my normal podcast, and maybe some of you will see this one day. My normal podcast is more serious, right? Like, I don't wear the sunglasses, and everybody always laughs at me because they message me and they're like, oh, wait, is this like video? And I'm like, no, it's not. I mean, it's video when we talk, because I feel like it's easier to converse with people when you can see them, even virtually, right? And so I like to have the video when I talk to people, but I don't wear the sunglasses. And my live stream, I like to put the sunglasses on because the vibe changes, right? Like, this is a different vibe. This is a loosier, goosier Blake. And that's what the people want. Like, they want.
I thought it was because you're not doing drugs.
Well, that too.
I thought it was because there's some Inception thing going on where we can see the monitors and the goggles.
Yeah, right. Like, can you guys see glasses? You guys see my Twitter DMs? All the
chat
girls.
Babes.
Yeah, that's why I do this. It's for the women. Like, it's it's,
clearly.
Yeah, so clearly. So I can see clearly now. The lies are gone. All right. Anyway, sorry. I always say I won't sing, and I always do. I don't know why I do that. Something's wrong with me inside, guys. I'm sorry.
I think we should also.
We should we?
I think so.
Let's do it.
I mean, John, like, you got the music book.
I mean, I'm all about it. You guys want to sing some Dio? You want to do the Encanto soundtrack? Whatever, it's on my iPod right now.
All right. Well, let's see what this hot shot at fucking Mad Cave Studios. What's he got to say? A friend of the show. Oh, Blake's Buds. Ooh, I like that.
That is good.
That is good.
See, I gotta keep more of you writers like close knit. Like, you guys make me succeed.
So buying collectibles while we're on the show.
Oh, whoa! You're like into like sport cards.
Oh, everything. I'm a lunatic.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. I keep thinking about getting into the Gundam models. And I'm so like absolutely like comics is already expensive, right? Like, if you're like into comics, there's no cheap way about it, right? And I'm into like comics, and I'm into Kickstarter comics, and so it just adds up, like things, and you know what, my I have a private student loan, so like, even though like right now like student loans aren't collecting money, I have this private loan that's like, actually, motherfucker, you're gonna pay us rent basically every month. because you went to this fancy college to get a fucking writer degree so that you could podcast when you're older. And we didn't really know that was like the trajectory of what I was doing. But anyway, like they don't like it when I tell them like, oh, like, sorry, I bought too many comics and I can't pay you, because they're like, they're like, hey, fuck you, fat boy. Like, let's figure this out, because we'll work a deal with you. They're always wanting to work deals, right? Anyway, sorry, and that's a whole different story. Let's go to Pat. Pat, what's up, man? How you doing? You over there?
I'm doing well, man.
You looking solid. You're looking like your Kickstarter's making a shit ton of money, and you're looking pretty good right now. So I'm thinking.
Yeah, I feel solid, dude. I'm looking at the Kickstarter too. It's it just hit that like 48 hours mark. So everyone who saved it got that reminder that we're still doing this thing.
Yeah.
So it's starting to climb a little bit. Last 2 days.
Look at that. Look at that
Oh
number.
my gosh!
Though.
Look at
like,
that! Wow.
That's a
Gosh,
number,
I don't
baby.
I don't remember what show I saw you on, but yeah, it definitely wasn't that. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. I think that we were at that was toward the beginning. Dude, during week
that
one.
Was toward the beginning when we funded day one. We've had time to breathe.
Yeah. I mean, that week one was my most live stream and podcast appearances I've ever done. My voice was absolutely deceased.
So you did the David Pepos theory, right? Like you did, because he does that for every Kickstarter campaign he does. I remember I interviewed him for the OZ issue 2. And he had Scout's Honor coming out, and he told me, he was like, oh yeah, I did like 3 podcasts before you, which also is like no fucking pressure, dude, because like I'm about to ask you like every question that you've been asked like 3 times already today. But
yeah, that could be rough. Yeah,
he proved it. Like if you do 35 podcasts in 3 weeks, you can raise $40,000, and then Marvel will hire you. So like that's how you do it.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. And plus, the more you do it, the more the questions become kind of second nature too.
Yeah. You just stop, drop, and roll like you're on fire.
Yeah,
and just spit that out.
Pretty much.
So this was the first time of all your Kickstarters, because you've been around the block, sir. This is you're in your home field territory, right? And this was your first day one funding. Correct.
It was, I've always wanted one. It was one of those things where, I've done so many and I've hit so many of my goals. We've funded every campaign that we've done, and we worked with dream artists, but we never hit a day one fund. We'll always just go right under. And, some campaigns had a higher first day, but those had a higher goal, so this one, we finally did that, day oneer.
What'd that feel like?
How many,
Oh, good. Oh, real good.
Sorry, Ryan.
Go bad.
I was curious, how many Kickstarters have you done?
I think this is 23. It's a little harder to tell because I used to have two accounts. I had my name account, and then I had one that was my company space between. Because back then, there was this push to only have one active campaign, in any phase of production from one creator. But that has since changed. So this is, I believe, 23, if you include all those campaigns.
Wow. And that's how you started out with comics, is on Kickstarter?
No. I got my start in the DM. I did Angel at IDW was my first gig, and then I was a staff writer at Zenescope for a long time. And cool. Then this was more like my creator-owned breakout. I wanted to, inject some life into my career in the creator-owned phase, because I was known, as the Zenescope guy, and I wanted to be known more as the me guy. So I took Destiny New York to Kickstarter. That was my first one, and that funded, and I've been on here ever since. And then starting to about halfway through that, do more creator-owned in the DM as well with Black Mask, Devil's Due.
Yeah, because
if it makes you feel better, Pat, I always thought of you as the Destiny New York guy.
Thank you. That's I will really take that.
Well, Destiny's your baby. I mean, that's your long running baby anyway, right?
It is. Yeah, that's definitely
and that's and Black Mask is putting that out now. You just, Volume 1 right now from Black Mask. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it from a comic book shop. You can buy it from a weird guy in a trench coat on the street corner. Wherever you want to get that, you can get it.
Yeah, and it's true. Yeah, this one that came out today, it's the Black Mask edition because the paper shortage really impacted us too. There, we did the first run of single issues last year, and the plan was to put out the trade between the first arc of singles and the second arc. But even though we sent it to print, just everything was so backed up that I actually met with Matt from Black Mask at my storage unit, and I gave him trades of Volume 1 that I printed through Kickstarter, and they put a Black Mask sticker on the back, and that was in stores last year, But now finally we have the actual Black Mask trade out.
That's badass. That's like underground Kickstarter badass. That's cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it
felt kind of illegal, me of Kevin Cuff and Bob France when they won the Ringo for Volume 2 of Metal Shark Bro. They put all the stickers on their all the Ringo Award nominees before they won. They put all these stickers on their trades and sold them at shows and then they won and now they won the Ringo. But yeah, awesome. I feel like as a collector, I want that. I want the fucking black market we just put a fucking sticker on it and rebranded it. I want that gets my nipples hard, man. I want that's sorry if that was too much, but I just feel
mine too right now. I'm cutting diamonds over here. But yeah, no, that's I felt proud of that, that we were kind of on the ropes about not being able to get the trade in stores, and we figured out a way that we could take what I had already done and kind of push back and get that in there for now. But still too, the cover on this one, it's this wraparound by Eliza Romboli, and she's well known for doing Alice in Leatherland. She's done what's the new one called? There's one called Truth, something that's at Skybound that's great, that she's doing with Iolanda Zeffardino, and yeah, she's amazing. She actually she had a run on the title volumes 3 through 4, so we'll see that in single issues. That'll happen on the 3rd and 5th arc of the actual single issues. And she's just absolutely amazing. Yeah.
And we talked about this because I was on Kevin and Will's show when you were on it, and we kind of talked about the power of the final arc, right? So this is a Kickstarter where you can pump out some extra money. I don't toot my own horn, but we'll just you can see I'm backing you.
Hey,
out there,
thank you very much, Greg. Thank you very much.
But no, I really wanted to read Volume 2 because Pat sent me Volume 1 and Volume 2 of Prison Witch, and Volume 1 was so fucking good. It was so it reminded me of so I've never watched Orange is the New Black, but that's I they throw that out there. It's Orange is the New Black meets The Craft, but the only prison show I've ever watched is Oz, right? Like early HBO time, but it reminded me of Oz. It was it's visceral and it's emotions from your guts, and it's these intriguing characters in this terrible scenario, right? They're addicts, they're depressed, they're dealing with this, these things that they've done, and all they have to do is live and protect the people that they care about and think about what they did in the past. And that element of and how these women come together and the things that they do, and how you bring in the Wiccan culture. I feel like you did a lot of research, well, not just you and your wife are co-writers of this. So, what kind did you do a lot of research? Do you guys know a lot about cause I mean, this isn't Harry Potter. This isn't people riding on brooms. This is real, and it's intriguing, and it's raw. And it's not any kind of magic story I've ever read before.
Thank you. Yeah. Our research comes in the form of Amy's interest. She's really into, learning about Wicca and true crime. So the true crime stuff together. We would watch these documentaries. There's one called I think it's called Behind Bars or Women Behind Bars, where we were watching these true life stories of prisons just like this, and we saw how the prisons operate, and the when you're stuck in a physical place for a certain amount of time, it's sort of, and this is a crazy comparison, but it's like a dark hell version of camp. When you're a kid and you're in camp, everything is heightened. The romances are heightened. The drama is heightened. You feel like it's life and death when you are embarrassed there. In prison, when you're an adult, it's like a twisted version of that's done as a punishment, where everything that happens to you is a much more intense version of that experience. When you are ostracized, that can possibly not only lead to embarrassment but to violence. And experiencing that by watching these documentaries was very informative on the prison angle. And then on the magic angle, that came from aspects, as a fantasy writer, I've always been interested in this topic, and Amy is interested in learning about more of the spirituality of Wicca. And we took elements from things that she studied, documentaries that we've watched, and put it together into this.
Do you think some of the power from your narrative comes from like working with your wife, where both of you can call each other out on your bullshit and say, hey, this isn't working, and just like lay the hammer down?
Yeah, definitely. Prison Witch, it's interesting, because we so many of our stories that we do together, we'll generally talk it out first, and I'll take notes on our conversation, and then we'll build documents from there. Prison Witch, a lot of it was done through text messaging, where like I would say, all right, it's your turn. Text me a cool idea for a character, and she would or wouldn't, and then I would or wouldn't text one back, and we would populate the cast based on that. Like, she texted me the full idea for the character Rizzo and her full arc, which is going to come to fruition in volume 3. And then I texted back the idea for Cat Lady, who is this inmate who she is an animal rights activist who on the surface you agree with everything that she did, but then you find out that she actually went to a kill shelter and shot everyone to death.
Yeah.
So part of it too is that a major theme of the series is that when you meet someone here, you're meeting them with the context that they did something bad, and you're seeing them kind of possibly past that. And then volume 3 is going to kind of reckon with the idea of, who among this group can integrate back into society, and who is and always was going to be a danger to themselves and others. And it's asking hard questions, and it's asking questions about how moral the idea of prison is in general, and how do you protect someone who is a danger to themselves. And
you basically deal with every single heavy fucking topic in volume 1 in 80, what is it, like 82 pages. Like, you hammer the nail, and it's organic, and it's natural, and
thank you.
And the even it gets a little sexy, gets a little hot, gets a little steamy, but even that makes sense. And so yeah, it's just it was, I don't really know what I was expecting when I started it, but it wasn't, it took off. Like, I just didn't, it was totally something else, and it really blew my fucking mind. Like, I'm like, that's about the only way I can say it, is it was just,
thank you.
It was just it was a very beautiful and, no pun intended, magical experience. And so yeah, everybody who's listening, you should fucking hop over to Kickstarter, and even though Pat doesn't need it, you should give him more money.
Oh yeah, bring it on, dude.
You always need it, always more.
And, all right, so like let's I'm trying to share the wealth with everybody. So if I cut any of you guys off, like, don't get mad at me. I'm just trying to was trying to like spread the butter over the bread of Blake's Buzz, right? So,
Butter it up,
but
dude.
also like I invited Travis into the chat. I asked him if he wanted to come in. He said he was writing, and that motherfucker's writing like a storm right now. So I don't want to like. I want to like he needs to like stick to his scripts, I guess, because he's doing some cool shit. But yeah, how I like what Travis is saying right now, because again, I haven't watched Orange is the New Black, but thinking of like HBO's original Oz, which is like, that was fucking HBO's first big series, right? Like that was before The Sopranos, and that was like this huge thing, and it felt so real, and there was like obviously a ton of research done. How did you like, where did you learn about incarceration, and also like of like this, it's all women, right? Like it's not the traditional like man prison narrative, so it's all women. Like where did you know people on the inside? Did you guys visit people? Did you pen pal people? Like how'd you make it feel so real?
I think, just a lot of research, and developing characters that we cared about, that we were also careful to approach in a way that there's a gray area there, where you can kind of see how they ended up in the situation, and you can empathize, and then we can complicate that empathy with showing a bit more of what they did and how it could have been if you didn't have the context of who they are and what they did happen to you. That could be horrific, so just delivering a complicated picture was important to us. But no, we have no knowledge of the inside, but what we did though was we kind of role played as the characters to Kickstarter backers. There was a level where you could get a letter from one of the inmates, and we wrote in their voice and cool. Sent correspondence to them.
Man, I paid like a whole shit ton of money for a grad school creative writing program, and that's one of the fucking dopest like writing exercises I've ever heard.
It's fun.
I just learned that for free. Shit.
That is cool.
Fun, yeah.
Ryan, you're kind of in the same boat. Like your narrative is very as outlandish as it is, it's still like scarily like rooted in history and realness. Like where did your research come from? Do you know, like, or are you allowed to talk about it?
Might end up on some watch list.
I know, right? Well, so the comic is based on the MK Ultra experiments that the CIA did, like in the 60s. And the main character, Brendan, is actually based on a real dude from that era named George White. And he was a federal, is before the DEA was created. So he's like a federal drug agent. And the CIA kind of recruited this guy to run the program in San Francisco, the MK Ultra program in San Francisco. So they set him up with like a safe house and stuff. And he would just, by day, he would kind of hand out, or by day, he would keep drugs off the streets. By night, he would be at the safe house with prostitutes and criminals and whatnot, just giving drugs out to people and seeing what would happen and seeing if these experiments would work.
I was born in the wrong time.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, if that appeals to you, you missed out, I think. I mean, or you're in the wrong profession.
Well, it wasn't just like underground people during that time. Like, I mean, the Kennedys were going to those like acid parties. Like there was highbrow artists and musicians. Like the CIA was sharing drugs with talented popular people.
Yeah, if you read about the history of LSD and how it became, how it was invented and how it became mainstream, it's pretty interesting about the CIA's involvement with that. And I'm not too well versed in like the parties and whatnot you speak of, but I wouldn't be surprised. I know that it really kind of got around these upper class circles and stuff like that.
That was one of the reasons why I like your comic so much. Is that was my undergrad thesis. So I went to Avila University, which was a private university, and it was I liked when I toured universities, like they had really cool English teachers that like catered to creative writers, and I really dug them, and they liked my writing. And well, sometimes I wonder if they liked my writing or if they were like, you know, like talking me up so that like I would take out a loan and pay $80,000 a year to go to this university, right? And so, but you know, whatever, it happened, but my thesis was about I coined this term psychotropic literature, and it was, you know, I did a lot of thought about like Ken Kesey and like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and you know the electric Kool-Aid acid test, and like all this shit was like what I was researching for my undergrad. And it was so weird like giving my thesis presentation at this like, you know, private Catholic university, and I'm like talking about like all this crazy shit about acid, and everybody, like, you know, like everybody dug it, and it was, you know, other people were like, oh, let's talk about Jesus, and I was like, yeah, let's talk about acid. Hi, my name is Blake Morgan. I'm here to talk about LSD. And so, but anyway,
it's a good intro.
But that's one of the reasons why, like, I really dug. I dug how you're like bringing back MK Ultra, and also like just you have like these cool characters, and I like your artist, and I just like your comic, man. It's a cool.
Yeah, Pablo's a fucking beast, man.
He's a beast. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, all you guys have really solid art. You all kind of lucked out in the art field. Like every Not one of you guys have an ugly panel from what I've seen in any of your comics.
It helps.
Right? Yeah, it helps sell the comic train. Let's move on. Let's move on to I guess we'll talk to John. I guess we should talk to him probably.
Get it out of the way.
He's like, yeah, I run this publishing company. I've been doing it for 12 years. Like, I'm kind of a badass. I know what's going on.
Not really. I'm the guy in the crowd here who has no publishing credit to his name, except for one time I lettered for a publisher who needed an emergency lettering job. Never been able to get anything on store shelves through publishers yet in 12 years. But you know what? That's okay.
Well,
just like
you
this.
You can say that, but let's scroll down. Let's just stop right here for a second. You're the only motherfucker in this room that has a Maria Wolf variant, who's, in my opinion, one of the top variant artists in the game right now.
Well, I appreciate that.
David probably has one in his back pocket. David's probably like, well, yeah, we got one. We'll put that out on the next Kickstarter. But dude, you got Maria Wolf, dude. You're ahead of as a cover A.
You know,
cover A.
I feel very fortunate. That was just luck of the email. She happened to have a scheduled opening, and she fit us in. So, you know, I don't have any relationship with her or anything. We're both from the Chicago area, so maybe that helped. You know, I'm working with somebody who she's worked with before, and Dan Doherty, our main artist. So, you know, maybe that helped, but it certainly wasn't my clout as a publisher. That's for sure.
So you're publishing this one here, Drumsticks of Doom.
Yep. So yeah, we tried to. Dan and I have been working on it. I started writing the story about 5 or 6 years ago, and then kind of got a little burnt out on publishing with the old company I was with. And then when I came back with this new publishing company, Part Time Comics, I said, you know, I'm getting old. You know, I'm over the hill now. I'm almost 40. You know what? I got to give it one final push before, you know, I'm in the grave. So I decided to dust off some old stories, and Drumsticks of Doom was one of the first ones I approached. Dan and I have been friends. We worked on a anthology series called Banthology, which was all music stories with creators who had previous experience with being in bands or creating music. Dan and I worked on 3 volumes of that, and Dan's work in that was just so great. He wrote a story called Beast in Me in the first volume that was very much captured what it's like to play live and how you're always kind of chasing that dragon, so to speak. And I've just been enamored with him ever since. He's an amazing cartoonist. He does so many different styles. And I was very fortunate. I said, you know what, Dan, I have this idea I've been sitting on. You know, would you be interested in working on it with me? And he said, yes, thankfully. He must have been desperate for money or something. But you know what? I'll take what I can get. But he again, he's still in bands now. He gigs out. So I wanted really somebody who you know knew what it was like to be in a band, who could, you know, draw the instruments and understand how to play and things like that. was very important to me. And again, I had a relationship with Dan. I like Dan a lot. I love his art. So thought he was a great person to bring on. We pitched it around to some companies for about a year and a half. And now, you know what? I joke that I've never really been published, but I like the DIY thing. I like, you know, being my own boss and being able to do, you know, whatever length of the book I want, whoever I want to get to do the covers, you know, these wonderful people, Kaylin Smith and Maria Wolf, did some amazing covers for us. I like being able to do that. So I'm certainly okay. I've don't have as many under my belt as Pat, but you know, I've had 9 successful Kickstarters, 1 Indiegogo, and 1 fundraising account. So I have about, you know, 10 or 11 successful crowdfunding campaigns under my belt. So I'm certainly comfortable in the arena, but this is the most success I've had financially wise. I'm very excited that people are excited about this book. You never know how these things are going to go. And this book has a bigger budget, as you see from some of the artists that we're working with. So I definitely needed a good response. And boy, it's just been amazing to see people respond to it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You're on mute, Blake.
You're muted.
I think he's just mouthing at us.
You're muted, Blake. Can he hear us either?
Yeah, I can hear you. No, this guy, he's got comics like I just talked about in the green room. Like I just got Depowered. I got Bulletproof Chicken. And I got Bulletproof Chicken Nuggets, cool, which I hear are good. So he's made comics. We didn't just find him under the rug. It wasn't like, you know, I didn't like lose my keys somewhere and found him in a couch cushion. He's like, he knows this industry and he's been around the block. And I agree with Ignacio and I agree with Gerald, who asked the same question. We've all been wondering, we see this werewolf. Like, what is the story? Because the gist of your comic is you know, like it's you know, instead of the Beatles, there's a new, you know, world favorite band, right? You want to fill us in on that?
Yeah. So the short pitch for the book is that Black Sabbath, not the Beatles, became the most popular band on the planet, and thus the universe was changed musically and otherwise. So all the things, you know, your aunts and your grandparents told you would come true have come true. You know, demons were summoned. You know, witches are abound. People are practicing alchemy and transfiguration, things like that. All the horrible things they told you would happen in the 70s and 80s, if you listen to heavy metal, are much more commonplace. So that's kind of where the story started. But then I kind of realized, you know what, this grounded story about a woman kind of trying to make her way in that world, and she wants to make indie music. You know, I'm not Jaime Hernandez. I don't know if I could keep people interested in that grounded of a story. So then, of course, I added werewolves. And I was like, you know what? I don't mean to disappoint Ignacio or Gerald. It was kind of like, you know what? I need something, you know, some sort of element that she has to overcome. And then I thought, you know what? In this world, that makes sense, right? There would be werewolves running around. There would be, you know, all kinds of supernatural things that happen, like all the heavy metal songs that we all love that talk about those kind of things. So that's where now, obviously, I can't tell you where that leads or, you know, what that means. But yeah, we got Dan drawing some awesome werewolves, and if that's not an easy sell right there, you know, I don't know what is.
No, the art is great, and I'm super excited for it. I've been super excited for it. I've just been like so I watch Kevin and Will's show usually every Friday. Like I really like their show, and I love how they showcase Kickstarters. And I saw John on that show, and John was just like a shit talker. Like he was like, you know, no holds barred, like gives no fucks. And I was like, I like this guy. Like I like that vibe. And then like, you know, like, and then the last Kickstarter, I was kind of bummed. Like I was like, you know, I was trying to share it. I was trying to help you hype it up. And you know, luckily you did like a different pre-order kind of strategy with it, and you know, I've got the comic now, so something successful happened. But like, dude, this Kickstarter, like people want it, you know, like people want it. They want they want the that rock star mentality. They like this main character, the art. Everybody loves the art, you know. Everybody loves both covers. I am obsessed with Maria Wolf, and it was a hard choice between covers, and I'll probably end up buying both of them because I have no self-control. But is that how's that? Like how you feeling? Like, I don't want to say you're coasting because you're still dealing with like, my bullshit and coming on, shows like this, and so you're still like, you're out there hustling, but like, you're past your goal. Like, how's that? Are you feeling good? Like, is it
I am feeling
nice?
good. I mean, it's almost the most backers I've ever had. It's definitely the most, dollar wise, but as my wonderful co-creators on this panel will say, there's the goal and then there's the real goal, right? So there's definitely a real goal here. Again, I'm working with some, world-class artists here, and they're full-time artists, and I want to get them their page rates and everything like that. So there's definitely a real goal here, but I definitely wanted to set the bar to an attainable goal after, as Blake mentioned, we had some struggles getting our third book for last year. We had 2 successful Kickstarters early in the year. That was great, had us feeling good. Then we rolled into that third one, and I'll be honest, it was a little bit more of a niche book. Blake mentioned Depowered, which is about superheroes who lost their powers, and it really struggled. We struggled a little bit on Kickstarter, went to a pre-order system, didn't really get all the backers to convert, went to an Indiegogo, didn't fund there. So we had our struggles. So to be honest, going into this one, I didn't know. Maybe I was like, maybe I lost the mojo. I've overshot my audience. And it's a very good feeling to rebound and get through those failures. I mean, obviously the book came out, but we're still, again, I like to work with full-time artists, pay them their industry rates when I can, especially if it's not, a shared co-creation thing. So Depowered was a little bit of a hit to the ego, but you got to rebound from that. And I had a feeling again that this book would be an easier sell if there's ever an easy sell. But you just never know. Again, it's black and white, so I didn't know if that would impact how people bought it. But people have responded like yourself and have been excited, and that's such a great feeling, and it means a lot. People are sharing it, talking about it, inviting me on shows with weirdos, which doesn't happen often as an indie writer.
Well, that's good. I'm glad. I don't know. I think I don't know why, but I think you're kind of a neat person. And I'm just glad you're. So I don't want to be an asshole. You're cool. You're a cool dude, and I'm glad you're seeing success with this one because it does feel very cool. And I thought Depowered sounded cool. Like it aggravates me. I did an interview with Matt Mayer Lowry, and he has a really cool like sci-fi project he's doing, and like I really believed in it, and it really impressed me, and I did everything I could, like, and other people were backing it and excited about it. And it was also exciting because he went to Zoop, and it was like, like I kind of dug that, like, oh, like fuck this vibe. Like I'm going to someplace else that like is better. And I dug that, like, I dug that mentality, and he just didn't. It didn't happen, and it was a bummer, and I'm glad he's still out there hustling, which is good. But it's just,
and we don't want to downplay the financial part of this industry in order to continue to make books. People need the income, but the longer you do it, I mean, you're gonna come across a roadblock. They took a chance on a newer crowdfunding format, and I think they'll recover. I mean, I have Thoughtscape Volume 1; it's amazing.
It's okay.
Anything with Tyrell Cannon is amazing in itself, but. I hope that they do rebound, and I have no problem sharing, my struggles. Some people might shy away from talking about failures, but it's part of if my only goal is the financial part of this, then I will not reach those goals. Right. But I wanted to put out a book. I find a way to make it happen. I'm in a fortunate position. My wife and I are both full-time employed all the way through this pandemic and everything. I can swing a couple dollars here and there and find a way to make it work if I really want to get these books about. And that's what's great about comics, right? You can't do that in movies and TV and stuff like that. In comics, if you work hard enough, you can have your books next to North Bend on the shelves and next to Prison Witch on the shelves of stores, even if you're doing it yourself. So if you work hard enough and you put out a decent product and you're a good person, you can meet those goals too. It's not just all about, I got to raise 10 grand on Kickstarter or I can't make these comics,
Yeah. Yeah, no, I dig that. I dig that. I celebrate my own failures, and we call it Blake's Buzz. And anyway, so David, last but not least, you've got Steak out this week, and hold on, we're gonna do the. There we go. So we got volume 1 of Steak out this week, and not Steak out. Steak is out this week, and you know, this is an interesting project because you've had 2 Kickstarter spinoffs with Jessamy, which have both done well, and now we have the 6 issues of Steak, and you have this vampire narrative that is very much all of you guys in this group tonight. Like you have these like things that we're used to in literature, but you've taken them to another place, and you've done that with vampiric lore. You've switched it up on the Nosferatu game, and I find that like really cool. Like I love that you've brought this. We're doing a live stream tonight, right? We're doing a live stream, and your whole comic is spinning out of vampires doing a live stream and ripping someone's heart out of their chest, like how I did this live stream with you guys tonight and just tore all the gumption from all of you and made you question why the fuck you do this, right? But you have this really cool idea, and then and it doesn't stop there. Then there's this like vampire police force, and there's this you have 2 wonderfully like sexy, vibrant, very interesting characters in Angel and Jessamy, and they're back and forth, and you write you write good dialogue, dude. Like, oh, your dialogue is solid and it's just fun, and like, can I lift you up any further? I don't know. I like it's a really cool book, man. Like, where the fuck did you get these ideas from, just from vampires? Like, tell me your secrets.
It honestly started with the fact that I'd never seen a vampire hunter named Steak, which I thought was kind of unbelievable.
So you like literally started with the title? You like started with the title and worked your way back?
I was like, what about a teenage vampire? And you know, I'm like, my ideas come at the weirdest time. Like I'll be in the car listening to a podcast, or I'll be watching a TV show, and then I'm not watching the TV show because I've spun it off into something completely different. And I just remember thinking, while I was watching something that, you know, as far as I knew, no one had ever used the term steak, and who would do that? Someone who would name themselves that, as it would do that. It wouldn't be a nickname someone gave them. They would give it to themselves. So that's it. Basically spun out of that, and then it was, you know, what is the story? And with her, it's mostly character driven. Since you've read it, you know it's more about the human than it is about any of the vampire stuff.
Yeah, it's you have like this masked coming of age story like hidden within all this, and that's part of the magic, right? But it's also like, it's also violent and sexy, and you know, there's this underlying narrative, and we're trying to save our best friend, we're trying to save the world in a sense, you know, like you're a puppeteer, you know, you've got many strings that you're fiddling, you know, over the narrative, and making these characters do and say and be things that we don't expect. And it's very smart. It's very smartly written, and you are blessed with your artist. Like Francesca is fucking nuts. Like she's just insane.
Well, she was the 5th try, just so you know.
Really?
Yeah.
I was about to ask like how you stumbled across her.
Well, there was an original artist for Steak, and he actually drew number 1 that we kickstarted. His name is Luis Bernardino, and it just didn't end up working out with him. And we were only an issue in, so Francesca I had hired to do the Jessamy spinoff, which the idea was to have an artist drawing the main series and then doing spinoffs at the same time, so that there were never any gaps with stuff coming out. And she had drawn number 1 already for Jessamy, and I was talking to her, and I was like, I'm having a really hard time with this other artist. I don't think it's going to work out. And she's like, well, I'll do both. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay, if you think you have time and you're willing to commit to it. Because I basically told her, it's like, this could be a, you know, 5+ year journey. And she was like, she loved the story, so she was all in. But even before Luis, I went through 3 artists who committed and then backed out.
So, what's that feel like? Like is that like, I mean, as you're involved with Scout, like you're you know the name of the game, right? You've been around the block a few times. Is that like, do you like hit the stress wall and like bang your head against the wall and like freak out and try and fix it, or are you like, you're like, we'll figure it out, we'll find a way, life finds a way, like the Ian Malcolm Jurassic Park scenario, like, or like, were you worried about it? Did you think the story had the merit, and you're like, no, someone's gonna pick this up because I'm a fucking genius? Because that's what I'm thinking.
Well, I think most writers who have done comics have experienced the ghosting.
Yeah.
Where you're working with someone, you think things are going good, and then all of a sudden you haven't heard from them in a month and a half, and they're
like
not
Tinder. It's like Tinder, but comics.
I've been in a relationship since Tinder began, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, sometimes you have these really fun conversations, and then you're talking and everything's great, and then one day you wake up and they're like bored and you don't hear from them anymore. That's kind of how e-dating is. I don't know. I feel
that's what it's like working with artists.
all you guys are like married with like kids and in Happy Land and shit, right? Like, so yeah, that's there's this weird like e-dating life where it's just I don't know. We don't need to get into that.
I don't know if I could date these
Hi,
days.
I'm the sad, lonely guy of the live stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But you know what? The reason I don't, me not having kids and a person is why I get to like hype up all your comics. So like, you guys should be happy that I'm suffering.
Comics are your children.
Oh no. I'm not paying for that college degree, baby. Anyway, sorry. Back to steak. Back to your wild success of vampiric lore. What was it? So you know what your story reminds me of, and like I'm really like I'm being legit. Like it's like Bram Stoker-esque in the sense of like you're really embracing the timeliness of it all, which is what he did. He built this vampire in the midst of their society and wrote this crazy narrative that made sense and was at the time was modern. And that's what you're doing. It's very modern. There's the live streaming, the way that she turns on her goggle cam, right? When she goes in to, like assassinate or not assassinate the vampires, but to like, make them register, which is also very modern. Cause like everything has to be registered. Like there has to be a paper trail. Like we're not allowed to be anything other than, a fucking file in a system that can be, taxed and controlled and monetized. Right. And so like you took that into the vampire world. And I think of like, the Lost Boys. And one of the cool things about the Lost Boys was that they were like this like hidden gang, right? But even though they had their like, cave and their hideout, they ventured out not only to find food, but to experience the world that they were kind of like hidden, forcibly hidden from. And so you've taken these like iconic vampiric elements and like modernized them in a really intense and smart way. And like, was that hard, or did you just like have like a weird dream and wake up and you're like, yeah, that's it? Like, how'd you do that?
No, it was just fun. I mean, I don't know how the rest of you work, but when I get an idea, I think on it for, I mean, it could be 6 months to a year before I ever go pen and paper for something. So by the time I was writing it down, I had a pretty good idea of where everything was going.
Okay.
And then a lot of the elements you're talking about, they kind of got fleshed out as I wrote out the whole story, So I don't go straight to script. I'll do a one-liner, then I'll do a paragraph, then I go to a one-page synopsis, then I do a treatment of at least an entire arc. And then I'll break it down into issues. Then I break down by pages. Then I go to script. So
okay.
By the time I get there, I've already built that tapestry and the texture to the world, just in basically engrossing myself in it. So it's the way it comes out and that you see it is the way I feel like that world would actually be, because I'm basically living in it while I'm writing it.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense, because it feels very now, right? All of these stories we've dealt with tonight feel very now. Like as we talked with Ryan earlier, like it's more now than we can almost handle, right? Like it hits different and harder, and it makes us think about things. But so what's your plan? Like, so you ride this, like you're very similar to Charlie, right? Like Charlie Stickney. He's, he rides this Kickstarter wave. He's got a good Kickstarter following, and he's also got a good in with Scout, and you guys both work with Scout and help publish other narratives and comics. But as we've seen with your last Kickstarter, like, you have the following, like they're waiting and they're hungry and they're ready for your next Kickstarter announcement. So like, what's your plan for Stake? Like, are you going to keep doing these like side characters on Kickstarter and keep the main narrative like with Scout, or with the trade's out now, right? So we're all kind of waiting for what's next.
So yeah, we'll finish the Jessamy series, which is just 3 issues, and she's almost finished with number 2, and then immediately is going to start drawing number 3. But then the plan is to release that to the direct market, and then we'll kickstart volume 2 of Stake.
Okay.
Probably 2 issues at a time instead of 6 separate Kickstarters. We'll do 3 with double-sized issues, and then we'll bring it to the direct market after that.
Okay.
So, and then that'll be basically the plan going forward, and that's more of an economics of comics kind of thing, where we need to fundraise to put the books together.
Well, that's exciting. I just want more. I want more Angel and Jessamy, and you guys can have my money. All you motherfuckers can have my money. Like I'll buy all your comics. Like, Ryan makes me uncomfortable. David makes me excited. John makes me, I don't know what John makes me. I don't know. I just want to pound on those drum skins with John's sexy drummer, like, and not like in a gross way, but like she's just like fun and exciting. And Pat, like, dude, fucking Pat teaches me about everything I've read from Pat. Like, he just like teaches me more about emotion than I thought that I knew already. Like, there's all of you guys are so good at like putting heart into your narratives, and even Ryan, like, like we have this, like, Ryan's narrative is very cold and broken purposefully, and like he works to like confuse us, right? But there's also like this love story, and there's numerous relationships in North Bend, and we watch those relationships like be comforting and like get strained through plot beats. And so it's just like, I think all you guys are really good at character building and character interaction. And I think that's why all you guys are real fucking talented. But that's just my opinion. I don't know a lot.
Yeah, that's your opinion, man.
That's your opinion. Go fuck off.
That's what you think.
So what's next? Like, everybody, like, Pat's got Black Mask dropping new stuff. You've just wrapped up your Prison Witch arc. Are you going back to Destiny, or are you just like, I'm taking a break and I'm buying some Pokemon cards? Like,
I mean, dude, I'm always buying Pokemon cards, but I'm going to do a pretty aggressive year because the printing shortage, paper shortage, made me actually have to push 2 campaigns from last year to this year. So I'm going to try to start doing between 6 to 7 campaigns per year rather than the 3 to 4 that I was doing, to catch up and then just keep rolling out more stories. Next up, we're doing Cheeky, which is my wife Amy and I do this series Thirsty. It's a not safe for work anthology of 4 comics per book. We did Thirsty last year on Kickstarter, and it's going to ship in April. And the goal is always to as soon as we ship it in Kickstarter, to have an ad for the next one as a postcard in there. So I'm hoping, if there's no port delays, to launch that in April. That's going to be with Jen St. Ange, Joe Picar, and a cool team of artists working on the interiors. And then in spring into summer, I'm going to do a 6-volume of Destiny New York and a spin-off of the series that I haven't announced yet, that I'm going to be doing with Bob Franz and Kevin Cuff.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Yeah.
Spoil that. Just drop that exclusive on me.
Yeah,
that exclusive on me, Daddy. Let's go. Like, bring it.
Yeah, I'm feeling loosey goosey, dude. I haven't said that anywhere else, but I actually just got their first draft of our co-written chapter 1 script this week, so I'm gonna go over that, add my stuff there, and yeah, they have a cool comic sensibility. They're funny guys that I think I always want comics to be a bit funnier. I always want to find those writers who can make me genuinely laugh. And Metal Shark Bro, I backed because I like them, and then I read it. I was like, "Oh, this is actually awesome!" Just because metal isn't really my thing, So I didn't know what it was going to be going in, and when I read it, it was just so genuinely funny and creative and inventive that I was like, "Whoa, these guys I got to work with." And in the past, I was doing these short stories as bonuses in the back, where we would have creators come on and co-write little shorts of Destiny New York, but we had the spinoff coming up that I had an idea for, but I thought that as fun as the concept was, I wanted to pair with creators to kind of delve in and kind of mine this character and concept for maybe what I couldn't find in there, And Bob and Kevin are helping me do that.
That's cool, man. They were my first creator interview. I was on another podcast.
Oh yeah.
I've told this story a couple times, but like I was super nervous. I got super lit up, and we were talking about Charlie Stickney's the Galarian one shot that he put out. And on the Galarian one shot on Kickstarter, he posted the scene where like this dude's dick explodes. Like it was very like alien-esque, and this she's fucking this guy, and then his dick explodes, and then and all this shit happens, and so everybody's talking, and somehow Charlie Stickney popped up, and I'm drunk, and I'm like yeah, I fucking gave him $60 because that guy's dick exploded. And Kevin Cuff like shuts everybody up. He's like, whoa, what did you just say? I was like, no, yeah, I was like, this guy's dick exploded. And we did this first interview, and it was so okay. So Kevin Cuff and Bob Frantz like gave us the chance of a lifetime, basically, because they could have told me in this podcasting group they were like, hey, we're done. There was the guy running it got the time zones confused, so we were an hour late meeting with them, and they were like, and Bob France is hitting me up on Twitter, and he's like, hey, you gonna send me a link? And I'm like, they just brought me onto this podcast. I was the new guy, and I was like, dude, Bob, I don't know what the fuck's going on, man. I'm sorry. And so they an hour late, they never, they were always like, oh no, it's cool, guy. Take your time, take a minute. And then we finally get rolling, and one of the guys' Wi-Fi drops out. And so we're like, okay, well, what do? He's like the podcast leader or whatever, right? And so we're kind of waiting, and we're all talking, shooting the shit, and then finally this guy's Wi-Fi kicks back in, and he comes back in, and he's like, all right, guys, I'm back. And Bob France goes, you better not fuck up the vibe in this room, buddy. It was the best fucking thing I ever heard. But anyway, so yeah, they were super chill. And then when I went solo, when I went Blake's Buzz, I did Dust Pirates. They were my first interview for Dust Pirates. Yeah. And then I got to meet Tony Gregori, and Tony Gregori's been on my show a couple times. So yeah, Kevin Cuff and Bob France are, they won't admit to it, but are kind of partly responsible to the initial success of Blake's Buzz. And
it's beautiful.
I love both those guys, and I wish nothing but the best for them. And I love that all these like Kickstarter. I love how you like Kickstarter legends, like kind of like, you know, bump elbows and like, and rub tummies. And like, I love how you all like just work together. It's so cool. It's a different world. And I mean, I feel like that's kind of what indie comics is, right? Not just Kickstarter. Like you know, there's, you know, you all find, you know, everybody kind of builds each other up. You know, it's and I love that. It's the warm side of the swimming pool, right? But not like piss warm, but just like the sun's out and it's nice and we're all hanging out in the water.
Yeah.
And pissing in it.
And pissing in it.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, yeah, it is kind of piss warm, yeah. But yeah. No, yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I Kickstarter has led me to probably more connections than the DM has. I like the DM too, but there's so much competition, and there's this idea that, you know, this competition for shelf space that creators have that publishers don't even really have, that I find, but creators feel like they're kind of like clamoring to get onto someone's schedule. Whereas in Kickstarter, I think it's rarer to find someone who's like, oh, don't launch when I launch, you know? And when I see that, I'm just like, dude, chill, you know, my launch will actually help you. Your launch will help me. Sure. There's an algorithm at work that really benefits us doing this a lot more frequently. So I think that has kind of helped, you know, engender a bit of more connection in this specific little sect of the comics community.
Yeah, that was the whole thing with the Berserker Kickstarter. People were like, why is that on Kickstarter? It's going to ruin it for everybody else. I was like, if you had a campaign running there and your campaign got featured in their backer updates.
Yeah. I can't count how many times I've tried to explain that to people. Like, unless there's, you know, 100 Berserkers on there and they're just taking up, you know, all the space, it's good. It's always going to be a good thing and bring more people and get excited. So don't scare those people up. Except for Brandon Sanderson, who ruins Kickstarter for a whole day.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh my God, what's he at, like 35 million right now? What
He's at 17 million when I looked earlier tonight.
That's insane, because he was at 12 million when I looked earlier. That was like a few hours. Jesus, I'm in the wrong business.
It's crazy, and just seeing what Keanu brought to Kickstarter, and even guys like Scott Snyder, who are comic book guys, but them going on Kickstarter kind of makes it feel more legit, even though we've all known it's been legit. Some people don't, you know. And Brandon Sanderson coming on and, you know, bringing all those new accounts on, like, dude, like, people are pissed off in some ways, but like, I more kind of want to suck him off, dude, because he's really, you know, he is making Kickstarter a much more popular place right now.
Yeah,
which is crazy. Charlie and I were talking earlier. He's like, I really want to launch a campaign right now.
Yeah, just launch something now. Launch. It made it. I couldn't. My backers wouldn't update in real time for like the last 36 hours or so. But I shouldn't be refreshing it every hour anyway. So yeah, that's not a big deal. But yeah, that was really the only thing. You know, he had so many backers that it kind of caused some stuff behind the scenes. But
he like broke Kickstarter.
70,000 backers right now. He's got 70,000 backers.
It's insane.
His shipping's going to be really annoying. I feel bad for him. So he's going to be packaging up packages for so long.
Yeah, he's going to be doing it all by himself.
All right, if you're someone made the joke on Twitter earlier. They were like, oh man, like imagine what that post office is going to deal with. And someone was like, buy the fucking post office.
Yeah, right. He's just like, I own it.
Yeah, you could. I feel like you can definitely order a fulfillment center if you're making that kind of money.
Maybe.
The thing I noticed in his rewards that really stood out, and it is something that makes it a lot more difficult for us to fulfill, is every single physical item said unsigned. Like, it specifically spelled out unsigned.
Yeah. You need to start putting that in your Kickstarter too.
I'm the idiot who offers it, and then I offered the letterer who lives an hour away from me.
Oh no!
Dude,
why you do that?
He had to come over and sign 600 books. It took 8 hours.
Oh no!
Oh no,
Ryan, what? So you North Bend wasn't on Kickstarter, right? Like you just like put that out through Scout, right?
No, it actually was, and like,
fuck, God, I always do this.
Sorry, you
got one more chance, dude. No.
One show's over.
No, like, yeah, I wish I had you guys' Kickstarter chops, because I flopped like 3 of them, and by that time I was pretty much done. And then that Scout happened to approach me, and it was kind of a pretty big coincidence that North Bend was ever published, I guess.
Oh wow, that's so crazy because it's so good, dude. It's fucking like that's what aggravates me about indie comics is there are such strong, fresh, and invigorating stories that are like happening, and it fucking really makes me mad that like some of you guys struggle to get them out there. It's a bummer. And
well, the challenge now, I know when I started, again, old man, 10 or 12 years ago, it's really hard to get people to see your shit now, especially on social media. You know how it goes. So it can be a challenge, especially if you haven't launched before and you don't have kind of, a history of backers to share it with through Kickstarter. It can be a challenge.
Yeah.
But more than ever now. It's like, you used to be able to post on Twitter, Facebook, most of the people who followed you would see it. Now it's like you have to be on there all day, all night just to get it through the algorithms,
Oh, it's true. Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, so social media definitely tries to hide it from you. They want people just on that site.
And they want you to pay for ads and that shit.
Yeah, it's very annoying, and it does kind of make it where I'm a big fan of Kickstarter's model for sure, but part of the reason why I've had conversations with Zoop, but part of the reason why it can't really function yet as a full-on replacement is that Kickstarter has. When you've been on for so long, it really.
Well, Pat, sorry, Charlie Stickney is watching my show right now. I'm freaking out. Charlie Stickney just posted in my live stream. I'm like, oh my god, it's crazy, fucking crazy. I made it. All right, that's the end of the show, guys. I'm going to bed. I'm gonna do the George Costanza and walk out on a high note. No, I'm kidding. Pat, back to you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Oh no, it's all good. No, that comment definitely
the bad signal that you were spreading lies about dicks exploding. So
I happened to be talking to Charlie on the other screen right before you started mentioning that because I know he just popped in because I told him we were live.
Funny.
It's kind of funny too. Charlie used the at symbol to bleep dick, but that symbol is actually very dick-esque. Like the A is little balls, and it sort of circles around. But yeah, yeah. I had conversations with Zoop, and part of the conversations that we had was the reality of what Kickstarter does, and it rewards, creators who have had success before more than it does like the newer creator. The newer creator on any platform has a super uphill battle, whereas someone who has done 5, 6, 7, 11 or more campaigns, right? We have this, each campaign's section of updates. That's like a mailing list, but it goes to people who buy your shit.
Right.
Like that is so important to realize when you look at who's being successful on Kickstarter. Like you do see someone just really strike the algorithm in a very precise way and have a breakout #1 campaign. But there are campaigns like, for example, if this were Prison Witch 1 right now, I don't think it would be doing nearly as well as it is now if it were my first campaign by a long shot. So I think that it's this weird thing too where you don't want to tie yourself too much to one platform because it can be very limiting. But yeah, it's a weird situation because I want every new creator to succeed, but people who operate on Kickstarter long term are definitely operating with a different set of rules and from a different standpoint. We really get a step up by doing multiple campaigns over years. So I think as a community, we can do a lot to help boost those newer creators who are doing, campaign #1, campaign #2.
Yeah, and I think definitely for that first one, even that second one, just getting a lower bar where you can get a couple of hundred backers in, or even less than that, just to kind of get that momentum going. And then your third one, your fourth one will be better. So if you try to go in with that first, I saw someone recently try to do, $20,000 in their first. Yeah, that's a struggle.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean,
what are you gonna do with $20,000 though? Like,
they were printing
I back a lot of Kickstarters.
They were printing a nice hardcover. I understood it. They put out the issues individually, and they were like, "Yeah, now we're gonna go and get the money to print this awesome Kickstarter, a couple hundred copies or whatever."
Yeah,
but yeah, it was a little ambitious for not having that built-in some built-in audience to help you spread the word.
Yeah, and I mean that's I made the same mistake. My first campaign also was $20,000 because what it was going to was funding the entirety of Destiny New York Volume 1, which was like 150 pages.
Sure.
And that was my goal. I thought I could do it. And we were on the final day, we were at, I think, 17.5, and we were really close, but under. And
wow.
I was like,
that's
oh, shit.
really good though. Damn.
Yeah. But I mean, it was just under, and I was like, well, we're not going to make it. I'll come back and I'll maybe split the volume in half and do, volume 1, part 1 or something like that. But then the letterer, Jim Campbell, suddenly donated a bunch to the campaign, so much so that it knocked it to the top of popularity on the algorithm, and people saw it, and then it got funded and overfunded, so
wow.
that kind of thing can happen. But I look back at that and I'm like, wow, that happened because of someone who helped me out, and not everyone has that kind of a safety net there where, I mean, I didn't know that I had it, but he was nice enough to do it. And I always look at those campaigns and I'm so impressed by campaigns that, even a first campaign that gets like, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, that's to be working with when the algorithm hasn't really learned to invest in you yet is very impressive.
Do the jitters ever go away, or is it still like nerve-wracking every time you guys launch a campaign?
It's pretty
bad. Day one is jittery. Day one's jittery.
Yeah, I've gone to not checking for the first at least 4 hours, just because it helps if I happen to be at my day job and I can just put my phone aside and have to focus on something else.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah. No, the first week up to funding is, extremely anxiety inducing. You sit there curled in a ball wondering why you ever do this shit and you wasted your life. And you're never going to make it again and you're a failure and everyone's figured you out. That's me pretty much every time, whether it's $1,000 or $3,000. Some of it's just your own constitution, how much you can tolerate. It's certainly not for everybody.
The last campaign that I watched the beginning of, no one backed for like the first half an hour, and I was like, I was like, did I actually hit launch? I mean, like, I texted my fiance. I was like, I think I'm just gonna go walk in traffic. Everyone hates me, and so then I did put my phone away, and I think we had a 5,000 goal on that one, and we hit 8,000 on day one still.
Oh, that's great.
I was like,
awesome.
But I was like,
what happened?
That first half an hour, I was just like, I mean, I'm barking up the wrong tree. I'm doing the wrong thing. I should quit.
Yeah, that day one is so hard, and the moments before day one too. John, you were talking about the goals. The hardest part for me, the most stressful, is right before you launch. The idea of, is my goal like a touch too high? Like this is
always
lower than what I need to make the book, but is it a touch too high? If I drop it by like $500, is that going to look better? Is that going to be a more like, oh, we could do this number that accurate going? That thought, I mean, I have it every single time. On Prison Witch 3, I was almost going to put it to $7,000, which is so much less than I need to make it. That's like half of what I need, but I almost did it, and then I didn't. I kept it at 8.5, and it was so stressful. That part is always the most. Yeah.
The pricing of the book. I started at 4,000, and then I somehow ended at 3,800. In my mind, I calculated the algorithm and said $200 lower will be successful. I don't know how I got there, but
yeah,
it's a struggle.
What about you, Ryan? Like, when did you, because you said you had like you had the hiccups, right? The campaign hiccups that didn't happen. Like, did you shop it? Like, how did you get into Scout, like afterwards, or did they come to you, or?
Yeah, I had I did like 6 Kickstarters or 5, and I think the first one I failed, and then it was like a fail, success, fail type thing. And so I was kind of just done after that. I was kind of burned out on trying to figure out what I was doing wrong. Well, I have an idea, sort of, maybe what I might have done wrong. I think like looking back at my campaigns, like some of the videos I'm kind of, I think didn't come across that well. Like I think it was a mix of nervousness. I don't know how much the video even matters, but if you watch them, like there's a mix of being nervous about, putting it out there, plus like the vulnerability of it all. It's hard to like put yourself that much out there and like ask people if you associate with the work so much. It's that basically asking people if they like you, it feels like. So it's kind of like, I felt like I maybe wasn't able to put myself out there enough to kind of believe in it, I guess I want to say. And so maybe the videos were kind of had to do with it. But anyway, I couldn't fully figure out what I was doing wrong, so I kind of gave up. And then I think James Hake, who's the president, I think he's the president, right? President of Scout. Yep. Somehow he came across one of the Kickstarters like a few months after I was threw in the towel. And he was just like, yeah, man, your comic's pretty cool. What do you think about publishing it with us? And I was like, sweet.
No way.
That's a good story.
That's fucking magical.
Comics are a magical place.
I like for real, like it's so fucking gnarly. Like your comic, like I just haven't read a lot. Like, first of all, it's not the traditional thing that I read typically. Like I still read a lot of like superhero stuff, and I love X-Men, and I read a lot of horror, and your comic is very it's just rooted in a different element, and the whole like I don't read a lot of, I guess the only thing I can kind of equate it to is like spy comics, and like I don't read a lot of 007 comics and like other comics like that, but even then, if you compare North Bend to like a typical spy comic, it's not that either. And it's almost like this like coming of age in the world of terror. Like it's so hard to like pin down the niche that you're telling your story in. And so just to like know that like you have a powerful narrative, and I hope you know that, and I hope your readers tell you that, and if not, you send them my way and I'll remind them. But you have a very powerful narrative, and it's very modern, and it's full of twists and turns, and the way that you work with your artist is really highbrow, and I don't see that a lot, and I read a lot of comics, and like, so to know that like, man, that's crazy that like you were done, like you had this like nugget that just unfortunately like people didn't notice, and you quit, and you were like, I can't do this anymore, and then someone came to you. Like that's I'm sorry that you had to go through that, because I can't imagine how that felt, like that to kind of like let go of that, but then to be picked up afterwards, like that's again, like I mentioned this before, like it's aggravating that like there's so many great stories out there that people don't notice. But I'm really glad they did, and I'm really glad that like I got to buy the trade that you made, and I'm really glad that like I've on a press list, like I've had your publisher like send me your 2 new issues to read and talk about, and you fucking deserve it, man. You deserve to be on people's press lists. You deserve to have that trade on bookshelves, and I'm just really glad that happened. Even like I know you went through some shit, but like I'm glad we're here now, basically.
No, yeah, I appreciate it, because I don't do a lot of interviews. I don't get a lot of reviews on the comic. Sometimes I wonder, how many people actually read it. So it's really nice to hear stuff like that. It's a lonely business, I feel like, when you're writing. You kind of write in this hole without any feedback, and then you emerge months later, hopefully hoping that someone will recognize what you've done. You make some kind of connection with someone. So the fact that you were able to, I feel like you get it, and when it when it feels like someone really gets it, that's, feels really good.
That's just crazy that you guys think I get it. Like, oh man, that just feels good. You guys make me feel smart. No, like, I mean, I approached all of you for a reason, and I had this weird spook idea, right? And Ryan, like, I knew your comic, and it was like, it wasn't a stretch, but I was like, the spook, the CIA spook, like, and I put this weird group together, and I respect all of you, and you're all really great storytellers. And just for me as like a podcasting weirdo, like, it shocks me continuously when I'm like, hey, I dig your comic. Like, we put up with my bullshit for a couple hours and come talk about it. And when you guys say yes, like, fucking warms my guts up, man. Like, it just makes me feel good. And it makes me feel good when like, I like to think that I get shit sometimes, but also, like, I mean, as a person that, on the other side of the comic business as a press, like, a lot of times I get ignored, right? Like, I a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I'll do an interview with you. And then you follow up and they never respond, right? Like that ghosting works both ways sometimes. And so it always really does shock me when I reach out to you guys and you're interested in talking to me, like, and I'm a comic fanboy. Like, this shit excites me. I love reading comics. I love reading stories, and I love, the different reactions that I get from different kinds of narratives. And like I said, like, this group tonight, there's so much talent in this chat room, myself included. Mostly it's all me. It's basically, but no, like, all you guys, like, you tell really great stories, and you manipulate your readers in very interesting ways, whether it's through, sexiness, fear, or charm and heart, and that, like, you have like this very raw sense in your storytelling. And I hope every single one of you, like, knows that, like, you are powerful storytellers, and you have really great comics to be proud of. And I've enjoyed reading everything that I've seen from you guys. And I hope, like, whatever shit you dealt with today, like, take that to bed with you tonight. 'Cause that's, like, for real. Like, you guys are doing it right. And I appreciate you, like, including me in that.
We appreciate you.
Yeah.
We appreciate your time.
You're kind,
we do look forward to the day when we're all famous enough to ghost you, but until then.
Same.
Thank you, man.
Same. Well, God, I know we've been yakking it up for a couple hours. I know you guys have families. I know you guys have kids. I don't know what that's about. Whatever. Good luck with all that weird shit. But, like, thank you for hanging out. And the polite host that I am, this is the part where let's go around. I'll reverse it this time, and we'll all talk about the best place to find you. And any announcements you guys want to throw out there, this would be the time. Pat, let's start with you. Prison Witch has a few days left. Everybody should back it. If you don't, we're going to have some online beef. I'm going to fucking come after you on Twitter if you don't back Prison Witch, because the fucking Prison Witch Volume 1, like, dude, it turned me on. It spun me around. It cast a fucking spell on me, baby. And
hey.
What's up? So where do we find you at, Pat? Where's the good place to follow you?
All right, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Pat Shand. On Kickstarter, Prison Witch is easy. It's tinyurl.com/Prison Witch. And what else? My newsletter is tinyletter.com/Pat Shand. I'm Pat Shand pretty much everywhere. Just my name. As far as announcements, I have on shelves today in comic shops the Black Mask version of the Destiny New York Volume 1 trade. To back Prison Witch Volume 3, we have 45 hours left. So if you want to slide in on the last day, we are still running. And I have a Van Helsing run going on at Zenoscope. I am back on the title after a 4-year break. So that's somewhat monthly. And look out for new Kickstarters coming in spring and summer.
Very cool. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it. Get your asses to Prison Witch. Back it. Back. It's
that $25,000 goal is in sight.
Yeah. He's almost there. We can get him there. Ryan, you have come you have emerged from the shadows of society to teach us of the mind-bending ways of the CIA, of spy narratives, of the underbelly of the political world that we don't always hear about, the Russian manipulation. You've taken that into a very mystical narrative spin and produced this comic book that is unlike anything on the shelves, called North Bend, which everybody should buy. As I mentioned, volume 1 is available now. Issue 2 dropped today of the second arc. Both of those issues have been stellar. And where's a good place to follow you at and keep track of you legally? Not from the dark web.
Not from a tree across from my house.
How'd you know where I was filming from?
Yeah, I'm probably the worst social media user of all time, but I do have a Twitter account. It's Ryan Ellsworth _. And yeah, I don't post too much on there. I post when something's about to come out, and then I do, I will notice if you send me a message, so you can hit me up on there. And then, North Bend, three more to go for the finale, and those should be out monthly, if I'm not mistaken, from this point on.
What a 10 arc narrative too. Like I'm excited to like read it as they come out, but I'm also like very thrilled when I have like both trades and I can just like read through it, because folks, he takes you on a fucking ride that you're not ready for. Like I'm just gonna tell you that. Like it's not like just fucking buy it. Just fucking quit listening to me talk about it and go buy volume 1.
You're overselling it, man. People are gonna get this and be like, "What the fuck?"
Cool. Unfollow me, assholes. That's fine. If you don't like this comic, you can straight up unfollow Blake's Buzz, and you fucking go read Bleeding Cool articles. I don't give a shit. Anyway,
where would we learn to cook turkeys then?
Right. Yeah. Like, come on, man. You like, I make food. I make tacos. I got my sad boy tweets every now and then. Like, listen to me. Listen to me. Buy North Bend. All right, Ryan. Man, dude, you're so cool. Like, I wish you knew how cool. You're just a neat person, and I feel like you know so much about, like, I want you to like teach me about politics so I can know how fucked up our world really is. On that note, John, hey, John Westhoff, you're just a cool dude as well. Yeah. And you've got this super hardcore metal Metalocalypse-esque stellar art, Maria Wolf variant, werewolves biting and chewing and chomping down on squeaky toys. You know what? Where do we find you at? Where do we keep track of you? Well, you've got a couple social media accounts, because you got your own little press. You got your own little press thing going on.
Yeah, the best place to find me is
bug on my arm that just scared the shit out of me. I'm really glad I didn't yip, because that almost happened. Anyway, sorry.
Linktree/part-time comics is the best way to find all our links. Otherwise, on pretty much every social media, part-time comics with an X is easy to find. Google it, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, all that. If you want to follow me, I'm anti_drummer on Twitter. That's where I talk about Magic the Gathering, most importantly. So if you want to follow me for that, follow anti_drummer. And
you're on Zanga too, right? Zanga and MySpace?
I found my band's old MySpace is still up. I guess it's not down yet. I just happened to find it in my YouTube link the other day.
That cannot be real. There's still MySpace profiles out?
I can click on it and it goes to my old page.
Fucking gnarly, man. The world we live in.
Bring it back. Bring back MySpace.
No, don't bring back. You guys would be in my top 8 though. For real. Nice. Probably not.
This week we would.
We cycle them out. That's what we did, Anyways, so everybody go check out Drumsticks of Doom. I'm super excited about it, and the art looks great, and I just I want this fucking Kickstarter to be over so that I want this comic. I really want to read it. I'm super excited about it.
Jesus Christ.
Pat
is not in your top 8.
Spilled everything all over his fucking Pokemon
Cat's out of
cards.
control.
He knocked over a huge glass Pokeball.
Oh, I thought it was like a glass of water. I was like, there goes $3,000 worth of cards.
Yeah, he sent a Venusaur coin flying though, dude.
and last but definitely not least, David Byrne, one of the masterminds behind Scout, one of the masterminds behind Stake, a fucking very modern and thrilling and gorgeously drawn vampire comic, who is just a super awesome dude and who's super awesome about comics and knows a shit ton about Kickstarter and publishing. David, where do we find you at, sir?
Pretty much everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It's all Dab282. That's pretty much it. I mean, Kickstarter, you can just follow me as David A. Byrne, because it is important to follow us on Kickstarter too, right, guys?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You see when we launch. So
Yeah,
definitely.
Blake, I'm gonna come stay with you for Planet Comic Con. Just so you know.
If you're coming, crash on the couch.
No, I don't know if I'm coming, but I've had a lot of people ask me to go, so I'm going to see if I can.
Because I just got signed up for a podcast network, and they're trying to get me on a press pass. Because my regular they fucking want like astronomical numbers. They for press they want 10,000 downloads a month. I'm like, who the fuck gets 10,000 downloads a month in comic books? That's like rare. I don't know.
Crazy.
Anyway. Yeah, it's pretty intense. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go, even if I have to pay. I just want to go. I still haven't been to a con. I've been doing this shit for years, and for the longest time, I was a bouncer and worked at a bar, so taking off a weekend was next to impossible for many years when I was all into this. So this is the first year where I could actually take off work. I have a following, and I could report at a con. So anyway, I'm super excited. Yeah, if you want to. I'm not even joking, man. I'll cook you dinner and crash on the couch. My dogs are gonna snuggle you and bother you, but whatever.
I mean, I heard there was a sausage turkey of some sort.
we could do the sausage turkey. All of you guys.
We're all crashing on the couch. Let's go.
Yeah. Let's fucking party at Blake's. I'll get a pony keg, we'll just get dumb and sloppy and eat sausage turkeys. That's what comics are about.
We brought it full circle with the turkeys.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay. Well, that's what good narratives are about, right? We've come full circle. We've all had our own character arcs progress through this live stream. And all of you, thank you. Thank you for taking the time out of your nights. Thank you for coming on my show. Our listeners, thank you for listening. For the assholes that didn't join live, you can watch this later. You missed out on all the fun, but you can join in later. Guys, you're all so talented. Your stories are so awesome. I think you're doing great things for comics, all of you in your own way. And as a nerd, I appreciate you. And I appreciate your comics, and I wish you all nothing but the best.
Sir.
You as well. Thanks for the great interview, man.
And that's what I do, baby. I do those great interviews.
It was beautiful.
Good hangout.
All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap up the shop, and we're gonna watch Pat get rich for another 48 hours, and then go back to our lives.
I think it just went up.
Did it?
As long as Brandon Sanderson is out there, we can all feel like shit about ourselves.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that and Charlie reminded me that no dicks exploded on this live stream or previously.
In the making of this stream.
Thank you so much, guys. I will let you go back to your families and other things. And I just, again, congratulations on your new stuff, on the books that came out this week. Stake Volume 1, North Bend 2, Prison Witch. God damn it, I just fucked up. Drumsticks of Doom. Shit. I was almost professional for a second. All you guys, I'm gonna stop while I'm ahead. Thank you again, and I will. We'll meet you on the Kickstarter backings. You'll see Blake's buzz on there. I promise.
Awesome.
Peace out, man.
Enjoy. Thanks, guys.
See you guys.
Take it easy, guys.